We're going to get started talking about the cases. You ready? We'll take a break after we talk about these cases. Deal? Okay. My paper's order is a little different than your order, so I'll try my best. Okay. You're trying to prove it to me. All right, good. All right, Marbury v. Madison. No, there's too much. Okay, Marbury v. Madison is...
Judicial review.
It is. Adrian! Because our Constitution did not say anything about, like, what are the courts going to do. That's what made Marbury a big case, because they flexed their muscle and said, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do judicial review. So it established their power of judicial review. We do not care what that actually case was about. Constitutional justification, I got nothing. Okay, McCulloch v. Maryland. Yeah, this is one of those ones where we have to be careful what we wrote. Check what you wrote and make sure certain things are there. This is about the bank and how the states didn't want it, but it's more about federal supremacy over the states. Because remember, the states tried to tax the bank. So I'm writing down, like, federal government is supreme, states can't tax the bank. Yeah, if you want to get real specific, the power to tax is the power to destroy. And then for justification, I would be putting just supremacy clause, probably. And the bank was allowed to exist because of the necessary and proper clause. But it's less, the impact is less about the bank and more about, in a showdown between the federal government and states, federal would probably win. Bye. Is Barron next? Barron is the one with the dock and the sand, but that's not really what it's about. What it did, just to remember the story, the guy's property got messed up, and he expected the city to compensate him. But the city said, the Bill of Rights doesn't apply to us. And it went to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court agreed. This is weird to me. When I was your age, I just figured the Bill of Rights always applied to everybody. That's not true. When the country first started off, for like 100+ years, the Bill of Rights only applied to the federal government, and this case reaffirmed that. I like to teach extra details because Annie is here. Annie was not here first semester, so she's got to know this stuff. Did he go potty?
He did go potty.
Everybody, round of applause for Calvin! He went potty!
Oh, is he I think he went to the ride.
Uh-oh.
Oh, yeah.
Now I'm wondering, or did he pee on his pants a little bit
Maybe
when they were pulled down?
Maybe.
Sometimes that happens. It's okay. This is all on video. Okay. Okay.
Uh-oh. Oh, you bumped your head. Oh, no.
Ice pack. With ice pack?
Oh, better.
Okay.
Oh, better.
Oh, kids, okay. So I don't... Yeah. The injuries are constant. I can't think of a constitutional justification for that. So, for the Barron. It was about the Fifth Amendment, but the case matters because it was about all the Bill of Rights. So I don't really see where that fits. So we're not going to put a justification. Calvin stops. Is Plessy next?
Yes. Yeah.
Plessy established separate but equal. Established segregation was okay. And so this case is about, for justification, it's about the 14th Amendment and the Equal Protection Clause, but they don't rule in a way that we would have thought they would rule. They don't rule in a Brown v. Board way. So sometimes it's about a clause, but it's not what we expect. I'm kind of sad at some of the cases we skipped this year. This is last year's list. Skip. There was a case last year, Reynolds. Just for fun, I'll tell you, it was about polygamy. You know polygamy? It was, keep. There was a guy and he wanted to have multiple wives, and the government said, no, you can't do that. It's kind of like peyote, like you can't break the law for your religion. But that's not on your paper. Is Shank next?
Yes.
Yes? Shank is about the guy that was giving out pamphlets that were like, don't join the draft, but that's not really what it's about. It was about freedom of speech. You don't have freedom of speech if it's like dangerous, clear and present danger, right? And the example that you think of is you can't yell fire in a movie theater. And so the justification is this is about the First Amendment. Never yell fire in a movie theater. Everybody will get scared and run out the door, and then people will get hurt, trampling each other. Never yell. I don't want to tell that one. You might do it. No. If there's a fire, you would not want to stay in your seat.
The movie's really good though.
Well, it's towards the end. All right, wait. The next case is complicated. The next case is Get Low. I don't care about the case. Like, I think Get Low was a guy that was making some communist newspaper or something. I don't care about all that. What I do care about is it's the very first case. It super matters. It began selective incorporation. Get Low started selective incorporation, and it used the First Amendment. It applied the First Amendment to the state. It was the very first case to say, hey, the Bill of Rights applies to more than the federal government. What are we putting for justification? Very good. We needed the 14th Amendment to be able to apply all the other amendments. Annie, this is something I doubt that regular gov teaches. So, like, the 14th Amendment was created like after the Civil War, and in it there are some sentences. One is equal protection and one is due process. And some very creative judges later, they're going to use the 14th Amendment to start applying, like one by one, spread out the Bill of Rights to the states over time. We call that selective incorporation. So the very first case that applied any of the Bill of Rights to the states was Griswold v. New York. If you guys remember the details of that case, it was stupid, like he lost. But they... Sorry. That's a potty word. Okay.
No, you said stupid.
Oh, it's just a bad word. Yep. A bad password? So what I'm saying is, I don't care about how he lost. I care that the First Amendment was applied to the states. What's next? Brown v. Board. Brown v. Board ended segregation. What part of the 14th? Equal protection of the 14th Amendment. You like the Peugeot drink? It's not my son. We're video recording right now, by the way. So I was talking to my people at home watching.
Say hi to Mr.
Is that the...
Yeah. It's like pineapple, very pineapple-y. If you like pineapple. Calvin, you want... You're just trying to troll me right now. You want to try the Shootie Duty?
Yeah. What?
Here, let's move the camera down.
That sounds like a shooter.
Calvin, is it yucky?
He's like, no. He keeps drinking.
What do you think? Say it loud. Yucky! Good job, buddy. That's my boy. That's my boy.
Nolan's trying to tell you something.
Yes, Nolan.
Do it to me. Do it to me.
Nolan, come over here. Come over here in front of the camera. You better not trick. Is this a setup? Okay, what do you think? What do you think? Is it good or yucky?
Yucky.
Good job. No, that's enough. Okay. Listen to Cece. She needs you. Okay. What comes after brown? Math? No, Baker. Okay, next up. Next up is Baker. Baker. When I think of Baker, I think of one man, one vote. Write that down.
Baker.
Hey. Side conversations. When I think of Baker, I think of one man, one vote. This is in like Tennessee, I think. They had farm areas, they got one representative. And cities, they got one, but way more people were living in the cities. So it was unfair. And what amendment do you think it relates to? Equal Protection Clause.
No, it's not.
No? It's Equal Protection Clause of the 14th because if somebody's getting unfair treatment, that's the amendment we'll use. Where like you're getting something better than I'm getting it.
Go.
And the people in the farm areas had more power than they should have had. Next! It's kind of like barely, yeah. Okay, next up is Map v. Ohio, very famous case where the cops created a fake warrant and came to this lady's house, and then they did find crimes that she had done, but they couldn't use the evidence, so because they had gathered it illegally. The things they found did, but that's not the importance of the case. So we're going to write down exclusionary rule. You can't use evidence that was... yeah, well, I would say for justification I'm putting Fourth Amendment because it's about how cops need warrants. It applied the Fourth Amendment to the states. Both my kids are over here, it's not my fault. Write down though, in the box, it created, like the left box, it created the exclusionary rule which says evidence obtained illegally cannot be used in court.
Tell me.
Hey, go say, hi Marcos. Marcos. Something about a guy and a baby. What's next after math? It's the fourth because it's about unlawful, like evidence, and you need a warrant. You remember Fourth Amendment. 4 is, remember our hand signals? 4 is the knocking, right? What comes after math? Angle. And you can help learn this one by writing angel.
See, you need to go potty.
You still have my keys?
No, I gave my
Oh, okay. Calvin, do you need to go potty? Because no one's going. You good? Okay. Angle v. Vitale. Hey. You had, as part of their like Pledge of Allegiance, they had to pray, like a separate thing, and that was struck down as unconstitutional. You can't, even voluntary prayer in schools is unconstitutional. Because of what amendment? First, what part of the first?
Free exercise clause.
It's more the establishment. Free exercise says let me do what I want. Establishment says government can't be forcing religion on me. So specifically write establishment clause. What's next? Gideon v. Wainwright is you have the right to a lawyer, especially if you're poor. Sixth Amendment. Actually, that one did have to do with Fifth. It was also his like.
And also the 14th.
Yeah. A lot of these were using the 14th to apply it to the states. So this was a guy that was poor and had no lawyer, and he represented himself in court, and he lost, and he deserved a lawyer. Before this, they only gave lawyers for death penalty cases. Now the states must provide a lawyer if you're poor. This is a case we don't do anymore that I'm sad that we don't do. Yes. Right. I think no. Like, you need to pay for it. I think you need to qualify, like, financially. I think. I'm not positive, though, to tell you the truth. You do not want the court-appointed lawyer. They are really bad. They have 100 cases that day, and they are reading yours for the first time while they talk to the judge. So you don't want that guy. What's the next case? Griswold v. Connecticut is the birth control case. Connecticut had banned birth control pills, which seems bizarre now, but that was struck down. What amendment do you think?
9th and 14th.
Yeah, the 9th via the 14th. The 9th Amendment says you have more rights, and maybe in there is your right to privacy. In the middle box, I'm writing the word privacy with a big circle. Thanks, Mom. Yeah, I mean the 14th is just making the 9th apply. What do you? I know those abortion birth control ones. They often use like 4 amendments. What else you got? Like number 4. Yeah. So Hyacinth says her notes show Amendment 4, Amendment 5. She's not wrong. It covered. It had a whole bunch of them. Hyacinth. Okay. What's next? Miranda v. Arizona, famous case. You have the right to remain silent, and cops need to read you your right to remain silent. And what amendment is your right to remain silent?
5th and 6th.
5th. I think his thing was also about a lawyer, so we call it 5th and 6th. That's good. Self-incrimination means you have the right not to rat on yourself. I'll remember that when we go home. You want to play. Oh, wow. Look at that. Alright. So now you said he looks like me?
Yeah.
You need to see me as a kid and you'll say, oh, wow. You were blonde. It's like, it'll start to look more similar.
I would not say that.
Oh, okay. Alright, next. What is next? Tinker. Students wore black armbands to protest, Keith, the Vietnam War, and you have a right to protest on school campuses. As long as it's not like super disruptive. Keith! Tinker v. Des Moines! Serena! Keith, what case is Tinker? What amendment, I mean?
The First Amendment.
Very good. First Amendment. And it's, what is it called? Oh, what kind of speech do we call it? With an S. Not free speech. I mean, symbolic speech. Good. Alexa's very proud of herself. Okay. Your name's not the only thing you stole. Okay. I know. You were born first? Oh, and you have extra letters. Okay. You're a oh, an is and a. Okay, gotcha. Okay. Alex us. Alex is. I know. Okay, what's next?
New York Times.
Versus U.S. All right. Oh, Marcos, you're so sweet. Okay. Next is New York Times of the U.S., where they got access to the Pentagon Papers about Vietnam. They were publishing them. The government said stop. They won. What amendment allows the press to publish what they want? First. I'm not missing anything with that, am I? We're pretty good? Okay, next. What is next? Wisconsin v. Yoder is Amish people that don't want to send their kids to school. They kind of won, they kind of lost. Yeah, like they're allowed to not go to school after 8th grade. 8th grade. I think it was more of a victory for them. And what are they claiming? What's the amendment? First religion exercise. First religion exercise. Keith, first religion exercise. Next. Yes, you do. What about your training?
What training?
He likes to fight. He goes in the backyard and pretends. Roe v. Wade! Roe v. Wade, the right to abortion is guaranteed via the Constitution, right to privacy. We're writing down for justification. Yeah, it's the same as Griswold, where it could be a bunch, but like 9th via the 14th. Sorta, yeah, because they're using it. All right, I bet you need Buckley, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk. Shh. Buckley established two things. Keith, Serena. Buckley established two things. Buckley was we talked about how campaign finance changed in the 70s, and they made it a rule where like you couldn't have unlimited donations. So Buckley said if you're rich, you can donate unlimited to yourself when you're running for office. You remember that?
Yeah.
But then the other side of that was like, like if Patterson was running, I could only give her $2,000. That, the court said, yeah, that's okay. Those limits are okay. So limits to give others are constitutional. Unlimited limits for yourself is okay also. It didn't create PACs yet, but those are different. Oh, what is it using? It's using freedom of speech. It's about speech.
Wait, well, how does that?
Because to give them money to like make commercials and stuff is about speech. It's a bit of a stretch. I'm not saying I don't agree necessarily. I don't think rich people should donate unlimited. You're buying an election. Yeah. What's next? Texas v. Johnson. I think we're good, right? You can burn the flag. First Amendment. What's next? Oregon v. Smith. You can't do illegal things and claim it's for religion. First Amendment, freedom of what am I looking for? Free exercise. What? Free exercise. What's up?
What's up with things?
Illegal things.
Illegal and say it's religion?
Yeah, the guy ate peyote or smoked peyote and said it was for.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Who just did that?
It's a cactus flower, and it gives you hallucination. Okay, we got to take it easy. I know this is so yucky, but you're drinking too much of it.
You said yucky.
I know.
Yummy.
Did you text me and say he's making a sandwich? Somebody texted me. It was you? How'd you hear that one?
He says it on his reminder.
Oh my god.
Who texted you?
It's called Mr. Gotta be Mr. Robinson.
Hey! No, you can't drink it all. That's enough. All right, next is what? What's next? Okay, Shaw v. Reno. Is this a case we never done? Yeah. Okay. I think Shaw's missing from my list here. All right, going from my memory. Did anyone look it up? Shaw v. Reno.
It's like gerrymandering.
It is. Okay, now you really gotta listen because nobody knows this case. Eye contact. Look at me. Eye contact. Shaw v. Reno was they were gerrymandering and putting like all the African Americans together and all the white people together, and the case decided you can't do racial gerrymandering. So this one and Baker are about districts. And this says you can't do racial gerrymandering. Especially if you're trying to diminish the power of the minority group. So is this on our future court case?
Yeah.
Okay, let go. Okay, what's next?
I was like, oh no.
What's next?
USB. What's that?
The amendment would be equal protection.
Is it Shootie Duty or
You shut your mouth.
Hey, the amendment would be equal protection because you have minorities suffering at the expense of white people. That was back to Shaw. Is that what he said?
I'm ready to play iPad.
Nolan, you can only play the Shootie Duty is your favorite. You're in the bathroom. Nolan, are you dancing on the potty?
So special.
Thanks, Miss Stacy. Okay. U.S. v. Lopez. U.S. v. Lopez says that, you remember Congress made a law, no guns at schools anywhere in America?
Yeah.
Well, it was something from like Unit 1 we kind of talked about. Gun-Free School Zone Act, it seems to me like pretty reasonable. Then a kid did bring a gun to school and he got in trouble, like he was going to get a federal sentence for a long time. And then the Supreme Court struck it down because they said it wasn't, like Congress had no right to regulate guns because that's not commerce. Like states can ban guns at school, but Congress can't because they were outside their powers. Whether you agree with that or not is up to you. Some people consider this a conservative activist ruling. You know what I mean? Yes. At school, like the federal government can't ban guns at school. Is it offline? Thought we had Wi-Fi. Oh, you're in the airplane mode. I don't know how these iPads. There we go. Justification would be, it was a case about the Commerce Clause. Commerce Clause. Yo, yo, yo. It was a case about the Commerce Clause. And maybe about the 10th Amendment for justification, because 10th Amendment protects states. Right, Shayla? 10th Amendment? Okay. Next. You know what? I don't know a ton about this one. It's the first time I was waiting to learn about it, but it has to do with, like, I believe that the city of Chicago banned guns, something like that. But I feel hesitant to have you write it down. Whatever Chicago did got struck down, and it actually, I do know justification. It incorporated the Second Amendment for the very first time. Now the Bill of Rights, like that applies to the states now too. So for justification, we're putting Second Amendment via the 14th, I guess. Well, if I'm going off memory, Chicago, you know Chicago has a lot of gun problems? They tried to ban guns altogether, I think, and the court is like, you've gone too far. To say they've gone too far. Yeah. I mean, if you believe in the Second Amendment, yeah. And if you believe it should apply to the states, yes. Okay, next. Citizens United. We did learn this. We did. We learned it in like Unit 2 or 3. We didn't do a court case, President. Somebody is going to do one. But unlimited spending, is that you guys? Unlimited spending by outside groups is allowed in election. Remember, like this created super PAC. Unlimited spending by outside groups is allowed. Unlimited spending by outside groups is allowed.
No, you speak Spanish?
I would also write down. You know a little bit, yeah. And then you could also write down created super PACs. What amendment protects your freedom to spend on election? First Amendment, freedom of speech. Who, raise your hand if you remember this when we talk about super PACs and there was this court case I hated. Clearly I did not believe it the last impact on me. This is one of the things I hate most about government, is this case right here. I feel sad that nobody remembers me venting on it. Oh, I'm not supposed to use the word hate, I'm sorry. I do not like this case with every ounce of my being. And then, Oberfell is gay marriage. Someone's going to present. And then, go to justification, what would you guess? Equal protection clause, that's right. Critical warning. How long has that been up there?